Recorded live from inside a...
Whoa. Before we start, we've received a letter of complaint.
What, an actual letter?
We've received a letter of complaint, okay?
Yeah.
And I'll read it out to you now, okay? Hello, dear Dave. I've been a long-time subscriber and love your little movies about life in a caravan. I'm offended that your little podcast with Joan and the Esquiban is far too jovial. After all, holidays are serious, and I think your podcast should reflect the seriousness of having a holiday. Peace and love, Mrs. Trellis of North Wales. Well, okay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode 6 of the Caravan Coffee and Cake podcast, your one-stop shop for all things informative and serious in the caravanning world. Tonight's panel includes John Feeney. John is a caravanning vlogger, scout leader, and styles himself upon Eddie Hitler. John enjoys a pina colada and long walks in the rain.
Hello.
To his right is Andy Morley. Andy is a self-confessed midlife crisis. From his dodgy haircuts to his questionable choice in cars, Andy's channel, Make Way with the Morleys, once enjoyed video uploads.
Hello.
And finally, me, Dan Trudgian, who enjoys a deep-fried pie, does little exercise and enjoys holding up traffic on the A34. I'm best described by my long-suffering wife as a living nightmare. That concludes this evening's panel. Let's get on with the show. Oh, you've got to laugh. Serious as always, boys. Serious as always. Oh, dear. How are you anyway? You all right?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I'm all right, actually. It's been literally 60 hours since I last saw you in the flesh.
Yes.
We do have some things we need to get off our chest before we get into this evening's episode. The running order involves this. We are no longer hosting Vloggers' Wives, and that's because one of the Vloggers' Wives has decided to become an ex-wife. So that's that. Cheers. I think that was politically correct, don't you think?
You know.
Do you think that would fly? What do you reckon?
I don't know.
I'm going to give you complete artistic license to decide what the hell you want to do with that one.
Now, we have had some comments about how do we listen to the audio-only segment. And not lots of people seem to get the concept that this is the video portion of the podcast. And on iTunes and Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts from, there is an extra audio-only segment to the end of it. So if you go on to any of your podcast providers and search for the Caravan Coffee and Cake podcast, you will find that the actual running time is significantly longer than what we put here on YouTube. Which brings me on to something we've been discussing for a couple of weeks now, and that is the possibility that we may scrap the video portion of the podcast and move it only... Oh, shut up, it was your bloody idea.
No, it wasn't.
We're thinking about scrapping the video-only portion of the podcast and moving it entirely over to audio-only on the podcast providers.
Right, while you're watching this, drop the comments below. Comments below, do you want to keep the video section of the Caravans, Coffee and Cakes, or would you happy not to see it online?
I think you'll get quite a lot of comments that say, no, we like watching you.
Yeah,
and I think you may get a few comments which says, do it live.
Yeah.
It brings me on to another point, which is the Motorhome man on his channel. He's proposed an idea that we do a caravan versus motorhome edition on his channel, and has invited us three to hold up the caravanning end.
Yes. Sounds good.
I think that's a good one.
So we can.
I'm up for that.
We'll be in the red corner, weighing in at an unspecified weight. And we will be the caravanning corner, and we will fight the motorhomers
Sounds
in the
good.
nicest possible way. So so if you're interested in that, people, look out for the Motorhome man on his channel, and I think that might be quite a good battle.
Sundays,
Definitely.
7 o'clock, live on YouTube.
Oh yes, because John got his weekly segment now, hasn't he?
I'm starting to become a bit of a regular on there as well.
Yes, you have. Sell out.
Sell out.
Anyway, there we go.
You boys were just not doing it regularly enough for me.
Well, what can I say? I'm deeply offended by that. So coming up on tonight's episode, we're going to talk about last week we have been mostly doing. We're going to have a quick chat about our first camp away since lockdown, which is quite interesting. What we're going to do next on our next trip. We've got some user comments. We put a tweet out yesterday, and we're going to go through some user comments from those tweets that we received yesterday. Some good questions and criticisms. We're going to talk about TPMS as well because I have it, Andy has it, John doesn't have it.
Nope.
And then in our audio only segment later on, we're going to be talking about midlife crisis projects because Andy is currently going through a midlife crisis, and so am I.
I think Andy's is a little bit more, what's the word? Involved is probably the best word for it, isn't it?
Do you want to see some of my midlife crisis? No,
I can see it already. See it already.
Yes, you were chatting to my wife, weren't you, at the weekend? Yes. There we go. It's my midlife crisis right there. I made that. What do you reckon?
Did you?
Yeah. I've got another 15 of those to build, but more about my midlife crisis in the audio only bit later on. How's yours midlife crisis, Andy?
All right.
Is it in bits?
Yeah. No, not yet.
How many months have you had it now?
Hang on.
You're running out of fingers.
Now I'm looking for the V5. I don't know, a couple. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
It is quite a funny story how I enticed you into getting it and then turned my back on you the second you got it.
But I am actually looking forward to this bit now because the whole day was funny. Not only for Andy was very serious, but it was absolutely hilarious for the rest of us.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember?
I mean, yes. The funniest part was the photograph that he came back. He said, "Mate, look what I found in the boot."
Oh, I know what you mean.
Anyway, more about that in the audio only bit. That's going to be worthwhile listening to, I think. So anyway, boys, last week, what had you been mostly doing?
Getting ready to go away. Getting super excited about getting away in the caravan for me for one night. I was super excited about that. And I did mention it, I was actually super nervous as well.
So was I.
Interesting.
When I met you at Storage Yard, you were quite...
I was, wasn't I? I was a little bit... I was a
tense.
bit tense. And then you just roll in, rock up, hitch up, and
f*** off.
and I'm like, hang on a sec, wait for me. I've been doing it all slowly. I'm trying to take my time.
So when was the last time you boys were away and would have towed?
February.
Yeah. I was a little bit sweaty hands and a little bit nervous about being behind the wheel again. Towing.
Do you know what I was nervous about? The queue at the other end.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried. That was what I was actually worried about.
That was my biggest fear. We should probably tell the viewers and the listeners exactly where we went.
Yeah. So we all went to Cirencester.
Yeah.
The campsite that I dissed tremendously because of their entrance to the site. John and I were booked in between 9 and 10, and we had both agreed that we were going to get there for 9 o'clock.
What time did we get there?
3 minutes to 9.
Exactly.
And I think there must have been 8 or 10, between 8 and 10 caravans in front of us already hitching up and setting up. But I you know what? Credit where credit is due. That site ran like clockwork.
I was going to say that the contactless arrival was brilliant. Absolutely spot on. Wind your window down. They pass you a pack with your name on. Your pitch is already selected. There's a map on the back. It's got your pitch number on. Everything you need, and off you go.
Yeah.
Really good. Really well organised.
It's worth noting that for future people who are attending a Caravan Motorhome Club site, your pitches are not pre-allocated to you. That was just purely to get in. You know, for Cirencester, the best part of 180 caravans in throughout the day.
We were really surprised. I mean, we'd elected to be there between 11 and 12, and we left home at about 20 past 9, quarter past 9, something like that. I think it was going to be about an hour and 10, hour and 20, maybe a bit longer, depending on the traffic on the motorway. And we arrived, what time? We were there for about quarter to 11, something like that, and just flew straight in. And even when we got there, I've looked at the I've got some footage from either side of the caravan, which you've both seen, and there was loads of people on site even by that time.
Was I not in some of that footage, Andy?
You was. It will. By the way, it will.
Will I make the cut?
Yeah, it will become a video. It will. Trust me. I know the last time I was on here and we recorded this, I said yes, there are videos coming, and yeah, there are.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first that Andy Morley is going to upload a video to his channel.
When was the last time you done a video, And?
The head shave, wasn't
it? So let me ask you then, the Caravan Motorhome Club system of using a facilities block, how do you feel it went?
For me personally, I think I didn't use them. We went the whole one night without using the on-site facilities, but the organisation behind it with the band system I thought was very, very good, very well thought out.
I thought it was incredibly well thought out, incredibly simple. I've seen people's comments about the bands are not socially distant, they're too close to each other, they need to be disinfected. You're always going to get that, but I thought generally they were very, very good, and it works really well for us.
I'll just pick up on that point, because I saw that particular message it was a Twitter message, wasn't it, I think, that you're referring to, and next to the toilet block there was a hand sanitizer. Now my only criticism really would be there could have been additional hand sanitizer at the bins where you get rid of your rubbish. There wasn't, and where the hand sanitizer was, didn't feel to me like it was overly sort of marked or advertised or made a big thing. It sort of blended in a bit. It needed a sign or something to say hand sanitizer or what, because the other side of where those hooks were, even if you did touch somebody else's band that maybe there could have been something on it, you could just have sanitised your hands. And of course, as long as you go back to your caravan and wash your hands, washing your hands for 20 seconds is the advice the government have given to get it. So the other thing I want to make, I've got a bit of a problem in service stations with hand dryers. I cannot stand the noise that they make. I've been down to London today, stopped at Beaconsfield Services, go in there, go to the toilet, and then wash your hands afterwards. And they're all distanced. There's all big perspex sheeting, so you can't get next to the person washing their hands. But then you've got a fucking great big, hand dryer that's just blowing around all sorts of vapour around the toilet. It's like, why not isolate them and put a paper towel where you dry your hands with paper towel?
I mean, I had to go in one of those Dyson urinals recently. Have you ever tried those Dyson urinals? It goes everywhere.
That's the point, though. If you really want to sort of get into the nitty gritty of airborne and things being blown around, I'm sure you'll be able to find studies on saying those hand dryers, they just fly vapor droplets of urine around toilets, without doubt.
Jesus, Andy, you're really serious again.
Well, remember, John, this is a serious podcast. No humour here.
Yeah,
it's a serious podcast. We're serious this evening. Remember, we're not having fun on this episode. So we had a bit of a revelation at the campsite in our own little bubble, because we have always, and this comes from my long-suffering wife, we have always dictated that no matter where we go, no matter what site we go on, we must have at least a toilet, possibly a shower block. Bare minimum a toilet, no matter where we go. So February, we obviously went away to a CL that didn't have that. And Angela, whilst we were at Cirencester, loves usually the showers most of the time. She goes in there for a nice long shower. Did not go into the facilities block once whilst we were away on holiday this time round.
How did she get on at the CL then?
Absolutely fine. It was easy because Angela would just, use the toilet whilst we were out for the day.
Ah.
Yeah. But, but no, whilst we were in the caravan, she used the facilities to the full potential.
Oh my God, it's not getting any better. I think you should maybe just...
Stop there? Yeah, okay. And And I said, so seriously, how did you get on? She goes, absolutely fine. Her biggest bone of contention was always the shower. That it just wasn't, she couldn't stand under the shower for 20 minutes or what have you and have long, hot water running continuously for 20 minutes. But, once she realised how to use the shower in the caravan, like starting, stopping it, absolutely no problem. And what that does for us, that opens us up to so many locations now where we can purely go somewhere completely off grid. We've just got to work on our daughter now to be able to use all the onboard systems.
Well, this is what I've said, and this is what, for our summer holiday, obviously we booked it a couple of months ago when we were in lockdown, and I thought, you know what, if facilities are going to be open, and that was a big if back then, am I actually going to want to use them? So we booked a site for 9 nights, 10 days, with no facilities at all. Nothing. No shower blocks, no toilet blocks.
Let us know how you get on with that.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Cirencester was a bit of a test. One, to make sure everything was still working in the caravan. It's not been used since February. But also for all 4 of us to use the onboard facilities for 24 hours.
So, John, let me answer me this. You turned up at 9 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday.
I know where this is going.
Can you remember what time of the day it was that you had to empty the toilet because the red light was on?
It's about 8 o'clock, wasn't it, in the evening?
Literally, your family had just been enjoying themselves.
Tristan and Taylor, both of them, had 2 number 2s before 11 o'clock. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Oh, I needed a pair. We didn't go before we went. Oh, God.
When you were away, did it feel different when you were there?
You could see everybody. I mean, when we were filling up the aqua rolls and stuff, there was a nice orderly queue, and people were keeping their distance. There was no you were having a chat, but you weren't sort of very close to each other. But it was all nice and relaxed. I think everybody was really happy to be away.
Yeah.
It was funny.
I think you're right.
For me, it was funny because everybody that was around us, all the Baileys, everybody was local. Everybody was fairly local. The one couple that had the Land Rover, they lived just down the road from where I am. The guy in the motorhome, he lived just down the road from another one of our friends, and literally everybody was pretty local. And I think they just needed, like we did, to get out of the house and just go and sleep in another beds for a while.
Enjoy our happy place, even if it was for 24 hours.
Right, okay, so that's a good chat. I think it's about time we head on into the user comments. So let's get the voiceover guy to do his bit whilst we load up Twitter.
It's time for some user comments. Swear jar at the ready, boys.
Andy, before I carry on, you're looking very good, by the way, for somebody who's come back from, the edge. And that's as much, exactly what I'm talking.
I do know exactly what you're talking about.
Deadpan humour.
I've still got the short hair. I think it may be a keeper.
I think you look good, actually. You look better in the flesh than you do on here.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the story about when you shaved the beard off?
Oh, yeah. I didn't like it.
And what about Mrs. Morley?
She likes the way it feels.
I do like. To be unfair, I
think that's not going in.
No.
Oh, for
oh, God. I can see it. Right, I need a beer. Hang on.
That will never go into any broadcast.
No, but what you can do is include the little bit where we're wetting ourselves. Just
yeah, this will be. Oh dear. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay, Tony Marsh. I say hello, guys. Look forward to seeing it. It was good to see Tony, actually. He was over at Siren as well and see his new baby boy.
We've got Richard Barris. Hello, gents. Hope the money jar doesn't get too full. Uh-oh. Hi, Rich.
Whoops. We got Camping Cinema. If you would like to give 2 pieces of advice to a newbie caravaner, what would it be?
Okay, new bit of advice for your first trip away. Let's try and narrow it down.
Take your time.
Yeah, drive in there, take your time, check your nose weight.
Check your nose weight. I would say check you're hitched. Make sure you're hitched correctly. It doesn't take a second, and that's one thing that a lot of people fail to do, and that is to hitch your caravan onto your car, wind the jockey wheel down, and watch the rear of the car come back up, and then let it back down again.
Yeah, I do that every single time.
Yeah, I showed Angela how to. I showed Angela how to do it as well. She actually hitched the car up this time completely by herself. So we're just going to say quickly about Camping Cinema. They're going to be joining us on site in a couple of weeks, and they're going to bring a lot of their equipment and they're going to demo it to us, and we're going to set it up, and we're going to have an outdoor cinema whilst we're on site with all our friends. And of course, you'll be delighted to know that neither of you are coming with me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right. I know where my friends are. They'll be with me on site.
You can't play those games, Trudgian.
No, all right, fair enough. No,
other thing as well, check the check wheel nuts and lights. So hitch, wheel nuts, lights, nose weight.
Right, yeah.
That's good 2 bits of advice, that is, yeah.
Hello from the Kios.
Yeah, I've got a massive hello from us, Toner on tour.
My big toe, it's a hello from us. Say hello to everybody.
Caravanians, we always say hello when a release of this is due.
Tim Percival, hello from Tim and Cheryl. We came over to caravanning from the dark side, former motorhomers, last year. If you have any practical advice about checking weights on a Weighbridge, we would value it. Thanks for all what you do. Your videos have been a great help to us. Ooh, practical advice about checking your weights on a Weighbridge. I would load your caravan as if you're going on holiday and then go to the Weighbridge, because that is realistically how your caravan is going to be loaded, isn't it? So, you know, however you're going to do it, put your awning in your car, put the clothes in the van, or however it is that you're loaded and you go on holiday, do that, then go to the Weighbridge, and you'll quickly see how fully overloaded you really, really are.
I've got one from Tales of Toe. Just wanted to say hello and a huge thanks for the help and advice given by yourselves. It's always brilliant. Plus, did anyone forget anything on this trip? Yeah.
I did.
I forgot to do something. What did you forget, Andy?
I forgot kitchen foil because we borrowed yours, and we also had a bin bag off you because we only had one.
Oh, I do know what I forgot. Yeah, we did forget something. Go on, Andy. John, what did you forget?
We forgot the windbreak. There was something else. It was a bit windy on that Saturday, wasn't it?
It was awful, actually.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, what else did we forget? I've forgotten what we've forgotten.
We forgot oil, and I forgot to wash the dog's bed, and that's why it stayed outside of the entire trip, because it absolutely reeked. Anyway, there we go. Hi, Dan and John. Can't wait for the next episode. Hello from We Are the Thorntons. Andy, obviously, rest in peace.
I got one from Glenn Beckwith. Hello from the Beckwiths. So the question is, we already know that John and his family are using their own facilities for the foreseeable future. What will Dan and Andy's family be doing? Andy, have you had a shit in the van yet?
Yeah.
Let's just say it as it is.
I prefer an actual toilet.
You prefer the kiss of porcelain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God.
I could see that going so horribly wrong.
I don't mind showering in the caravan, and actually I showered in the caravan whilst we were away in Ciren.
Yeah.
No problem at all. Kate and I can have a shower with one Aperol.
Right, I've got one here from Puddle Splashing in a Caravan. Hi there, glad to hear you've gotten back on the road again. Hubby Dave is a huge fan, and I mean huge, LOL. He would be proper gobsmacked if you could say hi to us. So, hi Dave,
hey.
And hi
Dave.
Puddle Splashing in a Caravan.
Hi Dave.
Caravanning with the Coxes, Oliver. Hello all. My question, and he did put this on the comments of the last video, which is, my question is SUV versus estate car and your thoughts. We've had both, so what's your thoughts? And I think in the video comment, he says both of you have got experience of both. Well, mine's a truck. Would you class that as an SUV? It's probably not an SUV.
Yeah, but your last car was that more of an estate? Yeah,
it was an estate, and whoa, God, this is something you could talk about for hours and hours and hours. SUV or estate. Now, an estate is likely to be, if you're going with a 2 litre diesel, far more economical to drive round solo than an SUV's. You know, my Skoda would have done, and this is really anorak to speak now, but 55 miles to the gallon on a long run comfortably, towing probably high 20s. I get 35 on the truck on a run.
With the caravan?
No.
Just what are you getting when you're towing?
Well, it depends. On the way back on Sunday, really windy, about 20.
And we've towed with an X5, we've towed with a 5 Series. I will say this, that the X5 was a far better towing vehicle than the 5 Series. The 5 Series, in my opinion, is shit. And
Don't
you both know
words.
that. No. But then, you know that I've had problems with my wheels. I will say that towing whilst the wheels have been different, because this is the first time I've towed with my new
rims.
My new rims.
Your new rims.
It has been incredibly different. It has been vastly different. It just doesn't wallow in the ruts anymore.
I'll tell you what, another thing where it's vastly different.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah. Did you feel that,
Mate?
Did you feel that? No. Oh, she says.
For those
so
of you who
often
don't know, John has just fitted shock absorbers to his caravan.
Oh, I wouldn't. I know. I kept banging on about it while we were away on Saturday. It was honestly. If you've not watched the video, not a plug out or anything, but yeah, go and watch the video, and I fit them, and another one will be coming soon. But oh my God, night and day different for me. It was so much better.
Told you. You're welcome, by the way, John. You're welcome.
Thank you. Money's in the post. Honestly, I wish I'd done it 3 years ago when we first bought the van. Our Bailey, some of yours caravans may already have shock absorbers on there, but ours is a single axle, doesn't have shock absorbers. So I purchased some off of, I think it was eBay, and the fitting kit, fitted them over lockdown, and yes, Saturday was my first tow with them, and we were going down some country roads, nice and bumpy. I've been down before, and you know when you get that feeling of that, hardly any of that, and going over some of the bigger bumps, it just glided.
That oscillation stops, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mate, honestly, and that's, if somebody says what's the best thing you've bought for your caravan so far, for me that is it now. It's honestly even better than my grill plate or my Cadillac. It is.
Wow.
It's made.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because we're touching on here. Obviously, the question was about the SUV or estate car, and we've sort of brushed on what's the best thing to tow with. But there's a whole wider picture, isn't there? Which is, how often do you go away, and how much of a role, how many miles do you do, solo? And for me, I do far more miles solo. So you kind of miss driving with a truck is not like driving with a car, and you do get used to it, but it ain't the same as an estate. But that said, from a towing perspective, I much prefer the truck.
Question I've got though, Andy, this one's straight to you. Did John mention at all over the weekend at any point that he had new shocks on his caravans? Because I'll be honest with you, Andy, I can't remember him mentioning it. Did I more than 10, 12 times?
But
night and day.
That's the thing. I think that I was
night and day. Did you feel that,
happy.
Sarah? Did you feel that, Sarah? No, John. Like
and do you know what her
time.
reaction was? It was, John, I don't give a shit.
That's true.
my overall reminder of Saturday night was John walking around at 11 o'clock with a glass of red wine going, night and day, guys, night and day. It's night and day, guys. It's just, oh, Jesus, John, shut up.
It was though. I know. I'm really happy with that purchase. Really happy. It's yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's user comments done. I think we've gone through enough of those already. We may revisit how we're going to do user comments in the future, because I think there's a possibility that we do a special. If we do a special one where it's just a Q&A, that would be an opportunity for all three of us to be in the same physical location at the same time.
Yes.
What do you want to talk about, Dan?
So, thanks, Andy. I want to talk about TPMS. I want to talk to you about that because it's something that we've had now on our caravans for quite some time. I mean, we had it on the Luna for years and years and years, and now it's on the Bailey. And every time we go away, I switch it on and I monitor my pressures as I'm driving. And there's a couple of things I'm going to say about that in a minute. But I believe, Andy, you have TPMS on your caravan.
I do.
And John, you do not.
No, I don't. Now,
Have you
is it worth it?
Well, let me ask you that same question in the Ask About Face way. Have you ever considered it?
Yes.
Why have you considered it, and why have you not done it?
Considered it because of, obviously, from a safety point of view, that it would be to have a warning if the tyre was on its way. Because I believe if a tyre just bang explodes, it's gone. But you're going to know about it. But if on a journey and the pressures are reducing and reducing at a smaller level, and then you're getting to a dangerous state, that's what I would like to know. But I haven't dipped my hand in my pocket yet to buy one. I think our Bailey there's a little sticker on the wheels. That says TPMS ready or something like that. I'd have to double check that.
If you are TPMS ready, all you need to do is buy the monitor and then pair them up to that monitor. If your caravan has got them, because some caravan wheels, it's not just a Bailey thing, but some caravan wheels have inbuilt TPMS sensors in the wheel.
Oh, right.
So, unlike me, where I've got the valves,
you put the little screw-on things on, isn't it?
Yeah, you would have them built in if that's the case.
Right. And how would I know that? Would I check it? Like I say, I think there's a sticker on the wheel, but I can't remember because I haven't looked at it for a while.
If it's got a sticker on the wheel, that's what it will be. It'll be TPMS ready, right. And you just buy the monitor and away you go.
But that would only do the caravan. That wouldn't do the car as well, because our car hasn't got inbuilt pressure system.
So this here, this is 4 sensors, and it's got a solar box on it. And you can fit this to a car. It's designed really for a motorhome, to be absolutely honest with you. So you put a sensor on the wheel and it's a solar controller, and that's it. You install it and forget about it. So you could get one of those to fit on your car, or you could get what I have on the caravan and just add more sensors to it. So you can have your car and your caravan all on one box at the same time.
This will sound like a really weird question, but stick with me. You know the little the sensors that you screw onto the valve. Does that over time cause problems to the valve stem because of it flexing around a little bit? Because there's a bit of a weight at the top. Do you know what I mean? Great
question, and you're almost onto something there.
Right.
They don't cause any problems with the weight. What they do cause problems with is salty water and brass nuts on steel stems, because you get dissimilar metals, they corrode, lock in place, and you can destroy your sensors, your stems, trying to get them off because they will not come free.
Right.
My experience, copper grease, there you are.
Copper grease. When you put them on.
My experience of them is quite funny, actually, because I did my installation video years ago of how you use them, how it works. And then a week later, we were just driving the caravan into the storage yard, our old storage yard, and I was reversing it, and then this thing started beeping at me, and I didn't quite know what it was doing. I was getting quite annoyed with it. And then I looked at it, and I saw the values ticking down. And sure as sure, I had a massive hole in the sidewall of my tyre.
Oh, wow.
I'd cut it on a rock or a stone in the storage yard, and it was just going down. Now, because we weren't going any great speeds, I wasn't too worried about it. However, I was able to get the caravan in a position and jack up the wheel ready, so that by the time it did go down, it wasn't going to be sat, you know,
Flat,
down in the wallow.
Completely flat, yeah.
So I could get a jack underneath it. And in fact, that was my following video when I showed how to replace a tyre on a caravan, because we needed to do it.
I mean, the main reason, or the main driver for us to buy a system was with our long drive last summer down to Spain, and with having a twin axle, my thought process was longer distance, much more of a chance to get a puncture, just based on the fact that we're driving 4 times longer than we would usually do to go on a holiday. And with being a twin axle, we wouldn't necessarily feel or notice one of the tyres if they've gone down. And of course, if they go too low, overheat and end up delaminating and destroying the wheel arch. That was my main driver to get one. And it's intriguing to see the difference in pressures cold and warm and temperature inside the tyre as well, because it has got a temperature sensor in there as well.
Oh, so it gives that as well. So it's not just the pressure, it also gives the temperature.
No, so there will also be a different pressure and temps on left and right side of the van, depending on where the fridge is and how much the fridge has got in it. And also, if the sun is on that side of the caravan, you know, driving for hours as we were down to Spain, if the side of the caravan was in the sun, that has an implication and an impact on tyre temperature as well.
There's a couple of parameters you can set up on the tyre. Under pressure, when the alarm goes off, when the pressure goes down through that value. But there's another sensor when you get over pressure, when because as you drive along, the pressures do creep up on your tyres, which is quite interesting to watch. But also you get a temperature minimum and a temperature maximum as well. So if you have a brake which is slightly hanging on, it will heat up the drum and heat up everything. So you know there's a problem. And also if you've got a dodgy bearing, which is rumbling and making you know, a lot of friction, again, you've got sensors on that, you know, to tell you. So you can actually...
so it is more than just a safety device almost then for the tyre pressure, for if a tyre is going to burst. It's going to be warning you of other potential problems that you could be facing. I mean,
when you start caravanning, there are so many expenses. So if you're first off to caravanning, don't necessarily think this is not as essential as towing mirrors.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to make a choice, it's not as essential as that. But it does, for me, offer me peace of mind that, you know, at least you know something's happened. You know, of course, that brings you on to the next question is, well, what do you do when you've got a flat tyre? The best place to practice that is on your driveway at home and see if you can get the thing off. And that wouldn't be the worst thing to try.
I suppose as well is dependent where you are. I mean, if it's the outside, if you're on the motorway and you're on the hard shoulder, I wouldn't fancy changing a tyre on a caravan like that.
I'll be honest with you, either side of the caravan, regardless, either side of it, I am not changing that tyre one bit. I'm just keeping my family away from it.
Safe.
Because, you know, even on the near side, if you're underneath it or fiddling around with your tyre and somebody just goes across that white line and hits your caravan, you're dead.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? We've all got, well, hopefully you've got cover. I know I have, and if I think that's the point I'm making. I wouldn't do it. So I wouldn't be practicing. I'd just be practicing. Where's the number? Who do I call? Yeah. Can you come and get me, please, or can you come and fix this?
Any TPMS system, if you start to get the alerts that something is wrong, that gives you time to make a decision on what to do. Are you close to a junction on the motorway? Are you close to services? You can certainly start to slow down and crawl, you know, start to pull over onto the whole shoulder.
Get yourself into a safe area, isn't it? Yeah.
Get yourself, and you can make that decision. Whereas if you're travelling in the middle lane overtaking a truck and it goes bang, fat, you're
in a bad place.
You're in a bad place. You know, it just gives you, like Andy said, it gives you time and it gives you peace of mind. And it also gives you an idea on what's going on with your caravan behind as well.
Like I say, I mean, up until this conversation, I knew about them, but I hadn't really given it any thought. And you've provoked a thought in my head now about maybe it is something that would be, now that we're a few years in and we, like as Andy says, we haven't got those big expenses anymore of like, right, let's need to get an awning, need to buy a new awning, or you need to get all the bits and bobs that get you going and get you started, were those little gadgets now.
If you do go and get a TPMS system, there's a few of them on the market. If you do go and get one, make sure you update your caravan insurance company. Make sure you tell them about it, because a TPMS system on your caravan mostly will give you a reduction in your premium.
Oh, right.
It doesn't give you much, but it does give you a reduction, because
a couple of percent. It all helps.
Exactly.
Doesn't it?
You know, because then you're deemed as a safety conscious caravanner. You know,
they don't know me very well.
Night and day, John. Night and day.
Night and day. No, yeah, okay. I can see some benefits from it.
So, guys, let me just ask everybody who's listening or watching this one: if you've got a TPMS system, if you thought about it, or if you've had one and an experience, I would love to hear your input in the comments down below on our YouTube edition. So go ahead, write your story now. We'll pick that up on the next edition.
I'm assuming there's bound to be cheap alternatives out there, and do they work, or are they cheap and rubbish and don't work? And it's that same old, you get what you pay for kind of thing.
I don't know, is the honest answer. You know, like I said, we use the Tyre Power system. When I first did the sponsorship thing all those years ago, crikey, it might have even been 5 years ago, we put it on and I used it and I thought, well, that's a great bit of kit. But over time, I thought to myself, okay, it's 5 years old now, or however old it is, and it still does exactly the same thing every day. We replace the battery and the sensors once a year, and it's easy done. It just works, you know. So, right, so that concludes our actual serious talky bit. Have you boys got anything else to say before we get off camera and go talk about midlife crises?
No, I think I'm good with that.
Well,
I'm looking forward to this one.
I'm not having a midlife crisis. or in fact, or maybe have I? I don't know.
Night
maybe
and
I've already
day,
been
John.
there.
Night and day, John.
You crack me up. But it was, Dan, honestly.
Night and day. She said she couldn't feel a thing, John.
I did, honestly, man. Honestly, I swear. I turned round to her. We're driving down this country road, and I'm like, I turned to her. I said, "Can you feel that?" She's like, "No." I said, "This is great. It's amazing."
And inside, she was thinking, "I couldn't give a shit."
It's the truth. I laugh at myself about it now. I was so happy. I honestly. Well, you heard about it.
Didn't notice, John, to be honest. Didn't feel a thing.
That's what she said.
Again.
Oh, brilliant. Right, there we go then, guys. Many thanks for watching us this evening as we've waffled on again for another 2 hours, it looks like. We've gone through 2 sets of batteries on our cameras and 2 Skype recordings. So, you know, that's not bad considering it cuts out at 1 hour increments. So thanks very much for watching once again, episode 6. And if you want to hear about Andy's and my midlife crisis, you'll want to head on over to Spotify and YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts from these days, and listen to the audio extended only bit that's coming up right now. So thanks very much, guys. We'll see you very soon.
Bye.
Take care. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
The Caravan Coffee and Cake Podcast has been a Crocs and Socks production. Hosted by John Feeney, Andy Morley, and Dan Trudgian. This podcast is available via iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn, with the video version on YouTube. For more information about this podcast or the hosts, click on the notes for this episode. Thanks for listening.